The first acting gig I ever booked.
Yeah, what is that?
Michael and Michael Have Issues.
Oh, right.
Michael Ian Black, Michael Showalter.
I remember that show. Didn't you play a character who had to like take a shit or something?
Yeah, I sleep with Michael Showalter's character in his hotel room.
Yes.
We're going. Hi.
Hi, Grace.
Hi, Jack. Welcome to this episode of Not Too Deep.
Thank you.
We're talking, you caught us candidly in the middle of a conversation about acting because Laura Clery is on this episode this week and she's absolutely fantastic. And she's got an awesome story of someone that was acting and trying to audition and that sort of thing and getting fed up and then creating her own path in the social media digital influencer world. And it's really fun. And she'll tell you more about it. And she's just a cool chick. So I'm so happy that she's on this episode.
I am too. She was delightful. Yeah,
but I forgot. I am wearing, you can't see this on the podcast, but I'm wearing a shirt that was given to me on my very first acting gig, a show on Comedy Central called Michael and Michael Have Issues.
That's right. I remember that.
It was a comedy show starring Michael Ian Black and Michael Showalter. And I played a college student that they were coming to do like a comedy show on a college campus. And I was like the student activities advisor. And so I was showing them around and then they like bombed. One of them did really well because they wouldn't work together. I forget which, I think.
One of the Michaels.
Yeah, one of the Michaels did really well and one of them totally bombed. I think Showalter did well and Michael Ian Black bombed. So Showalter was like big man on campus. So I took him to like a house party on campus. And we hung out and then I went back to his hotel room and we like slept together. But he like locked Michael Ian Black out or something because I had to like pretend have sex. Like they're like, here's a boom mic. We need sex sounds because Michael Ian Black's character gets so fed up. He sleeps in the tub.
In the tub, yes.
In the hotel room.
I remember seeing this before I met you.
Yeah, it was a weird first acting thing. And I can't believe because I'm so shy about any sort of like sexual innuendo like that as my age now. And this was probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
That I couldn't believe I booked the part because I'm sure in the audition I was like beat red, like so like not comfortable doing that.
Right.
And when they called me that I got it, I was like, what? Did everyone else that audition just like throw up on the floor and funny. I'm the only option?
But it ultimately coalesces into a giant poop joke.
Yeah, because then the next morning he falls asleep in the tub. We didn't know that he is in the tub and I go to use the bathroom and I just take a massive shit while he's in the tub next to me. So I had to pretend to have sex and pretend to take a shit. For my first acting gig.
Yeah.
You'd think I would love the world of make-believe by this point, but
in a way, don't you feel like you broke the ice? Like you got through two like super embarrassing scenarios.
I was so nervous. This was in New York City. And that was, I remember, such a welcome reprieve when we were done shooting. And one of the reasons that I'm like, maybe I shouldn't act because so many girls would be so excited to be doing this. And I was just so nervous about screwing up that I felt like I wasn't making friends with anybody because I was just like, do a good job, don't get nervous. And that I was so excited when they were like, that's a wrap on Grace, and I could go home and make a YouTube video. I was so pumped to go back to my apartment.
So funny.
Which is like not how normal people that want to pursue acting perceive getting booked on jobs.
Right.
And then I think I watched the episode like by myself in a hotel room. Oh, not hotel, in the room that like a subletted studio that I had at the time in between like two other apartment buildings when I was moving. Like I left an improv show and didn't like tell my improv team that it was airing that night on Comedy Central and like ran back to my room and watched it like by myself because I was like, I don't know if this is going to be good or not. And
you were good in it. I thought that show was pretty funny. I
thought so too. I was surprised that
one of my former teachers was on that show. That's why I watched it. So like their boss, like in the Office segments, was played by a guy named Josh Peiss.
Oh yeah,
who was one of my acting teachers when I went to NYU
with Marie Forleo. Yeah. You know, Michelle and I worked with Marie Forleo.
That's right. I forgot you worked with Josh.
Yeah, we watched Josh teach acting to all these people. Yeah.
Yeah, so I took his class, Committed Impulse.
Yeah.
So that's why I was watching the show. I mean, I do like Michael Ian Black and Michael Showalter just because I
forgot that he was on that show.
Yeah, I was just a fan of the state.
Wow.
I watched the show because I was like, well, I like those two, and obviously I like Josh. I like everything that he does. And then, so I'd seen every episode.
Yeah.
And then I met you years later.
Oh, that's nuts.
And I didn't realize, like, wait a minute, she was in Michael Michael. Michael have issues? Oh, right. She was the shitting girl.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is, too, I was working for My Damn Channel at the time and did an interview with Stella, which is David Wayne, Michael Ian Black, and Michael Showalter, with Michelle Vargas at the time, my roommate. We were hired to like go interview them after a show. And I was coming from another job like on Staten Island. So I had to like train in from this like shoot all day and then try to interview them. I had nothing prepped. And our collective boss gave me no, like, he just wanted us to shoot and talk to them. But I was like, what do I talk to them about? He gave me no, I didn't know.
Like no background?
Nothing at all whatsoever.
And you probably hadn't watched The State or things like that growing up.
I've seen bits and pieces, but never anything. And didn't know, had never done an interview with anyone before.
No.
And so, then I went to do it, and they had to perform at this music thing for like New York Magazine's like 100th issue or 100-year, whatever, something bash. And so they had to perform in between bands. So like no one's paying attention. Everyone that works for these companies is just trying to get shit-faced. So all their comedy like didn't really like hit that night. So they didn't want to be interviewed. They were doing My Damn Channel a favor by like stopping the time to get interviewed. And I was literally just like, what do you guys want to talk about? And they were like, don't you have interview questions? And David Wayne was trying to be really nice, but the other two guys, and it's not their fault. If I'm having a bad set, I do not want to talk to anyone in the middle of it.
Right.
And so I remember it being the most uncomfortable interview of all time, and me crying after the interview on the street in New York, and Michelle like consoling me. And then cut to like 2 years later, I book a part on their show.
That's so
and
weird.
I never told them about it at all. I was like, I don't want to
hopefully they don't remember me.
Yeah, exactly. And I've since done Michael Ian Black's podcast like up in San Francisco at like a comedy festival, and they're all super, super nice. Yeah. It was just a weird time. Acting. What a wonderful world it can be.
Yeah, really.
But we're going to get more into that.
Yeah, and Laura's got some great stories, and her story in particular is like really inspiring.
Very inspiring.
She took her career in her own hands.
And she has some very authentic advice too, for anyone out there that is feeling stuck or feeling like they don't have control over their creative pursuits. So
she kind of got me excited about Facebook, which is something that I haven't been able to say in a very long time.
I think a lot of people haven't been able to say that in a long time. So maybe, listen up, guys.
Silver lining, perhaps.
Get your notebooks out. Take some notes here. Also, got me really excited about water. We'll get to that.
That'll make sense later.
So enjoy this episode of Not Too Deep with Laura Clery.
Not Too Deep with Grace Helbig.
This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by our new good buds over at ZipRecruiter. Hiring used to be hard. You have multiple job sites, stacks of resumes, a confusing review process. But today, hiring can be easy. You only have to go to one place to get it done, and that is ZipRecruiter.com/Grace. ZipRecruiter.com/Grace. ZipRecruiter, listen to this, sends your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards, but they don't stop there. With their powerful matching technology, ZipRecruiter scans thousands of resumes to find people with the right experience and invites them to apply to your job. As applications come in, ZipRecruiter analyzes each one and spotlights the top candidates so you never miss a great match. ZipRecruiter is so effective that 80% of employers get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. Those statistics are nuts. And with results like that, it's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the highest rated hiring site in America. And right now, my listeners, you beautiful, beautiful humans, can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/Grace. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Grace, GRACE, ZipRecruiter.com/Grace. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Not Too Deep.
Calling all heretics. Today's episode is sponsored by Epic Reads and the book Heretics Anonymous, a hilarious new novel by Katie Henry about a band of misfits who end up inciting rebellion at their high school. Sounds right up my alley. Put an atheist in a strict Catholic school, you can expect comedy, chaos, and an inquisition. Get to know the charming group of heretics who start off seeking a safe place to embrace their diverse beliefs and end up launching a full-on revolt of their Catholic school's rigid code of conduct. This smart, irreverent, and witty tale combines hilarious hijinks with a lot of heart and a little romance. and will have you questioning what it truly means to believe. It's perfect for fans of Becky Albertalli and Robin Schneider. This is one divine comedy you don't want to miss, so pick up Heretics Anonymous today. It's available through HarperCollins, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, pretty much anywhere else books and audiobooks are sold. That's Heretics Anonymous by Katie Henry. Start reading today.
We're with Laura Clery.
Yeah.
Who is French.
We just found out she's French.
Je ne parle pas français.
Is that
That means I don't speak French.
Oh, yes.
Oui.
We also. Yeah. However you say me too.
Yeah.
Are you only French?
So no, like I'm American. I mean,
Right.
my dad.
So you're a mixture of things.
I was gonna say you picked up the American accent very well.
Yeah, exactly. And you never learned French.
Yeah.
No, my dad is French and Swedish and my mom is Irish. So I'm like,
Got it.
I feel like we're all kind of mutts here.
Oh, big time.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm English, Irish, and German.
Okay.
Yeah. Like my grandmother's from England, so
cool.
They just lost in the World Cup. I just found out.
Do you care?
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't
care.
completely not care.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like fun to root for something that doesn't matter. So it's like if they win, that's exciting. If they don't win, my life stays the same.
Yeah.
Nothing really changes.
That's a really good way of looking at it, actually.
That's how I feel about most sports. It's just none of it affects my life directly.
Sure.
But it's fun to get into.
Yeah, it's fun to like root for something and like to live vicariously through the achievements of others and think.
I like that. I just don't care about sports at all, but maybe I should.
I care way more about reality television than I do about sports. What's something that you care about?
I care. My dog.
Oh my God, yes. Okay. I've done a whole deep dive into the world of Clery and your dog. What's his name? Fetty Pug?
Well, his name's Oliver, but his Instagram account is Fetty Pug.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a he.
Just call it an it because that's what it is. It's disgusting.
He's got one eye. He's a pug.
Yeah.
How old is he?
We think he's like 9 or 10.
Okay.
We don't know exactly.
He's adorable.
Isn't he hysterical?
How long have you had him?
So like we've had him for 3.5 years.
Uh-huh.
And he was like in and out of shelters for years.
Oh yeah.
Because like he's older.
Sure.
And he's got one eye and it doesn't work.
The one
eye doesn't work.
Oh no.
The one, and they told me it worked.
So he's blind.
Oh, they duped you.
They told me it worked. They were like, "Yeah, this eye works." And then I took him home, and he's like bumping into everything. And I was like, "I don't think that eye works."
Maybe they meant it can move. It just can't see.
Yeah, right. They didn't specify. But even
Define works.
Yeah.
So is he like legally blind? Then?
He's legally blind.
So how
Oh
does
my.
Yeah.
how do you walk him or how
We
do you
don't.
Okay.
He does not walk.
Okay.
Like I tried when we first got him. I tried to take him hiking.
That seems like an impossible mission.
Right. And it was like after I very clearly found out he was blind, I was like, let's go up Runyon Canyon. And I just put him down and he just goes,
oh no.
and he won't like move. And so we got him. I'm saying we, Steven and I. That's my
this
husband.
is your husband. Yeah.
And by the way, he said at VidCon, he was in the elevator with Oliver and that you came lunging. You were like, dog! And came lunging, but the elevator shut.
That really is actually very correct. It's probably why I saw him again on Instagram and I'm literally doing the exact same thing and he's not even here right now.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But what was I saying? So we got him a bag. So there's a bag. We carry him around in a fucking bag.
No,
Nice.
It's a bag and his head just sticks out and we walk him around in a bag.
So it's like a baby Bjorn for a dog.
Kinda. Yeah.
But I appreciate that because knowing that dog doesn't want to walk.
Yeah.
That's way more makes sense to me. If I see someone with a dog in a bag, I'm like, let that dog walk.
Right. And that's what people say. They're like, you're supposed to walk your dog. Like people yell because we like walked out with the dog.
You're like, we adopted a dog with one eye.
Yeah.
You have no room to yell at me.
Yeah. He won't walk, but he's really funny. And
his tongue is unreal.
Yeah. His tongue's always out.
Yeah.
He's obsessed with potatoes and strawberries. Like
well,
he
who
spins
isn't?
for. I know.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's a very good balance.
Yeah.
Healthy balance.
No, he's hysterical. He's just so fun. Pugs are just funny, aren't they?
Pugs are funny, but you got like a very charismatic, like accidentally charismatic pug. Because some pugs that their owners think are cute and they're really not. That's like the most like problematic pug where you're like, this is not a good looking pug.
No,
that you got
but
here.
are any pugs really good looking? They're all pretty disgusting.
Yeah,
like everything about them.
But that's what makes them so charming.
That's just like
just
how
noise
they breathe.
factory.
So true.
Always.
It's so true.
They're nasty, but I mean, I love them.
Well, that's so funny.
ugly
You guys, you did VidCon this year too, right?
Yeah, this year and last year.
How was it different this time around? Last year was your first one.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one you probably knew more going into it, had more just like your head wrapped around it. How was it?
It was fun. I mean, like it's intense because I'm like pretty introverted and like always in my house shooting, and I forget that like anyone watches my videos ever. Like you just kind of forget. I forget. And then like, you go there and it's overwhelming, but it's fun. It's fun to meet fans and
it's cool,
other creators.
It is overwhelming.
Yeah,
you
right?
think of numbers don't really register in your head for views that this is a person.
Yes.
And then when you see the people or meet the people behind the numbers, no one gives you training on how to interact with a wide variety of people. Because I'm sure, because you do stuff primarily on Facebook.
Yes.
And Instagram and that whole world. So I'm sure your range of people that watch you must be kind of all over the place.
Yeah, it's mostly women 18 to 35.
Really?
I'm like 70% women on both.
Okay.
But it's funny because like even just the other day I'm sitting at a restaurant and there was a mom and a daughter and they both followed me and the mom on Facebook and the daughter, the 12-year-old on Instagram. So it's a lot of like that.
Wow.
Because Facebook is older.
Right.
It's like everyone's moms, aunts, everyone's on it. And Instagram is very much, younger.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's because we were talking, I was like, I don't use Facebook and haven't used it for a long time.
Right.
Every year I feel like at VidCon I have the meeting with all the reps from Facebook and they go, here's everything you need to do. And then a year later we have the meeting and they're like, so you didn't do any of that. So your to-do list is the same. And I'm like, I know, I just haven't figured it out. How long have you been making content on Facebook?
Well, like I started on Facebook because I was sort of late to the game as far as like social media goes. I mean, I really didn't get into it until like just over 3 years ago. Before that, I was acting. I was doing like tons of commercials and sitcoms and things like that. So that's what I did for 7 years. And then I was just like really creatively frustrated because I had no control over my career, really. I was like waiting for the director to like write the role for like the tall, lanky blonde girl. Like
that's not just like a sexy role. That's like actually you get to be a human
and a funny one. And like, and it was like I just kept, that's all I did was audition. And then I started seeing these influencers and creators online and they were just making their own things. And there was no excuse of like, oh, I don't have the budget for a crew to make my thing. It's like, no, like you need a phone or, and so I really made that transition and I went all in and just was like, told my agents to stop sending me out and committed to doing a video a day for a year, which I didn't like. I probably missed some here and there, but for the most part, I was like posting daily. And these were like 15-second,
that's still
funny little whatevers. But it was just kind of learning the language of the internet and like how to create and what people respond to. And that was kind of it. And I just transitioned over. But anyway, to answer your question, because that wasn't your question that you asked me. Facebook, what did you ask me?
Just how long, I mean, because Facebook, I'm just like, I'm always confused as to how it works.
Yes, okay.
So what, if you had to give like 3 basic tips to someone that's trying to use Facebook as like a launching pad, because I did read an interview with you where, and it makes total sense that YouTube is such a concentrated environment. There's so many content creators there. To even start out there and try and build an audience seems next to impossible.
And it kind of is.
Yeah, it's nuts. You just get lost in the sauce. That
totally.
And Facebook to me feels like a platform that's changed so much since when I used to use it.
Yeah.
That the idea of creating content there feels like confusing or just like, I don't even know where to start.
And it really is like, so I actually started on Instagram. Like I was just before Vine died.
Okay.
And like Instagram
before all the Viners moved to Instagram. Yeah.
Yes.
And YouTube.
And YouTube.
Yeah.
What a crazy thing.
Yeah.
But
they've taken over YouTube. It's crazy.
yes. And Instagram, I would say.
Yeah.
And but so Instagram was doing 15-second videos, and then I remember like 6 months into making videos there, I just heard from other creators, oh, Facebook's doing video now. And so it was like right at the beginning, so no one was doing it. And so people were kind of like, what are you doing, Laura? Like you can't even monetize on Facebook, so you're not directly making money. But my whole thought was, well, people are seeing my videos and I'm getting followers because no one else is doing it, so why not? Like that timing is so essential. Like I feel like your timing with YouTube was incredible. And so like,
and it's accidental in a way. You just realize no one else is doing this, so I'm going to try and do it, and then you figure it out as you go.
It's such a valuable thing, that timing of it all.
That's really savvy. So you've built up this huge following then on Facebook. Did you ever feel the pressure then to like, not pressure, but like the urge to now then port it over to another platform? Or you're just like, nope, I'm good here. I'm going to stick with Facebook.
When, the whole Vine thing kind of made me go, okay, it's probably good to have a presence more than one.
Sure,
on one
because you don't
platform,
have all your
you
stuff
just
on one
never
platform.
It's safer to assume a platform can go away tomorrow at any point.
Yeah,
totally.
it's true.
Yeah, like we really don't have much control over it. Although I don't see YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram going anywhere.
Yeah.
Snapchat for me feels like it could. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Snapchat might not be long for this world.
Like I
but
don't
even
know.
with Facebook, even though, or even with like YouTube, it's true that YouTube probably isn't going away.
Right.
But you have so little control, as you can see, of like who gets to see your videos and
yeah, they're making a lot of changes at the moment that leave a lot of content creators like confused and disheartened in a way, and
on
just
YouTube?
like and feeling like less in control of their content and like who gets to see it, how people see it, and if things are actually working. And so it feels a little bit less of the like democratization sort of environment that it used to have. And plus they seem to be filtering a lot of like attention into traditional media stars, which is like a bummer a lot of the times.
That's right. I heard that.
Yeah. But you never know. It's one of those things where you wake up every day and you're like, what new change is happening that could be great or terrible? Yeah. Just like the world.
Yeah.
But my point was though that it's smart then to diversify because you don't know what's going to happen to your platform.
And just like having that ability to kind of change with it, even if it sounds like it sucks, whatever change that they're implementing, just kind of going, okay. So
instead of fighting against it.
Right. Because you're
wasting your time that way.
Yeah. It's just, so I would say like consistency for Facebook, like stupid things like titling, like putting titles on the video. It's kind of dumb.
No, but it makes sense because it makes it more shareable.
There's something about, or like I subtitle all my videos.
I saw that too. I was like, this is very smart. Yeah.
And it's like, it's for the deaf community, for people who don't speak English but can
also people that don't have their volume up.
That too. There's a lot of people at work who like know they want to watch my video, but they know it's not going to be appropriate. And actually, you can't really watch videos at work anyway. So people are watching on mute, or school and all of that. Yeah. But they just do better. There's things like that, like subtitling and then titling on your video. And then so now like Facebook, you can't monetize. Like, so I'm in the monetization program now, but your video has to be 3 minutes or longer.
Oh, wow.
And there's no pre-roll. So you have to do it a minute in.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
I wonder. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder how that'll pan out for them.
Yeah.
It's an experiment like everything else.
Yeah.
They're just going to try it and they're like, oh, that didn't work. Let's try this instead. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try this instead.
But I think it's like, for me, it was my first year. I was just kind of throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what stuck. And then once I started getting a viral video or two, I would kind of take that video and go, okay, why did that go viral? How can I expand it or evolve it into something more?
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of creators, like they'll have a viral video and then they'll just move on because they're like, oh, I did that. Yeah. And it's like, well, but there's a reason that so many millions of people responded to it. So well, how can you
What's
take
the core of this, the seed that you can keep planting?
Totally.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
And that's been like my whole philosophy is just, doing what works. It sounds really simple.
Yeah. Well, you have you base it on a lot of like characters that seem like they're probably based on people or situations that you've really had happen to you or around you in your real life. Is that true?
Some of them.
Some of them. Okay.
Yeah. Like a lot of my characters are hybrids of, more than one person I know. And
yeah. So who does the best? Is it Helen?
Yeah. So Helen is definitely my biggest character. I would have never anticipated that this like square face perv
but
would
it's great. It's so dumb in like the most complimentary way possible. It's like, but that's what that's what's so goofy about it.
Yeah.
It's silly.
Yeah. It's just silly. Exactly. It's not like heady. It's just silly. And so, but the people are upset. Like this guy in London got a tattoo of Helen on his arm.
Oh
like it's crazy. Like I'm sure he's regretting that because like it's literally this square face like on his arm.
Pretty great.
Yeah, but so that started. It was just one day I'm laying with Steven and I'm on Snapchat and I see this like square face and I just thought it just made me laugh.
The way it went into your
image,
face.
The square and the neck, it just killed me. And so I just looked at him and I just said something disgusting. I just started saying gross pickup lines to him. And he looked and he saw the face and he was genuinely like, that's really uncalled for. Like, he was like, really, Laura, he's like, that's sick. That's really sick. And I was like, oh, wow, I gotta keep doing this. Like, the more disgusted he got, the more I just threw it at him.
Yeah.
And it was just as simple as that. And I wasn't even gonna post it. Like it was just a dumb thing. And then I thought, I'll put these together and I'll post it. And then people asked for more. And so I did another like pickup line thing. And then that one like went viral. And then I just kind of kept going with it. And that's actually the thing that took me from maybe 30,000 followers to 2 million followers.
Wow.
Like that character and that concept. And I have all these theories about why. And you see online like all like the side chick humor and like the guys objectifying the woman and the guys are the sexually aggressive one. And I think that we haven't really seen so much the woman being the sexually aggressive one.
Saying inappropriate things.
Totally. Yeah. And I think that like struck a chord with females. They just liked it.
Yeah.
I can't, but I don't know. Or maybe it's just
also,
that it's silly.
Yeah, it's role reversal in a way. That's good, especially because Steven's reaction is not like anger. It's just like confusion and disgust, which is most like, women's reaction to like getting catcalled. It's just like confusion, disgust, and just like, especially when you're getting catcalled from someone that isn't doing it the best.
Yes,
it's mostly like kind of pity for that person in a way too. Now you guys, he's in a lot of your videos, which is super fun. Do you guys try to break each other in the videos that you do together? Like, do you try to make each other laugh? Like, who could break first?
I think that we haven't like consciously done that, but I mean, I would say like
you want to make him
it happens.
It does feel like sabotage sometimes.
It does.
Like you're
I do want to make him laugh.
Like you're sneaking up on him.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, like he's just like, oh, I don't want to be filmed right now.
Yeah.
Like you can tell.
And it was that. And then it like, I was exhausted with the concept. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's like it's just so much. So I was like, but how can I expand this character? So I just started thinking like, okay, who is Helen? Like, who is her mom? Like, where did she grow up? Why does she have this inappropriate sort of interaction with men? Like, what happened to this woman?
Right.
Like, why is she so disturbed?
Right.
And I like really kind of dove in and had fun creating this family.
Yeah.
So then I created like this family of square face women who, and it's dysfunctional. And like a lot of that actually stems from my real family.
Your real family.
Like her sister is very much like a combination of my sisters, and the mom is very similar to my mom.
Does any of your family members, have they seen this? Do they ask?
Oh, yes.
Are they like, that's me, stop
Literally,
doing that?
Yes. I went to Portland like last week to see my family. My sister got a farm out there, and the first thing she says was like, so I see you made a character about me. Like it was like,
oh my God.
Because like she's got long black hair and I just threw on a long black wig, so I wasn't subtle.
Right.
I could have changed her appearance.
On the nose.
That's so funny.
But it really
is. You want to maintain the integrity of the character.
Yeah, no, they're,
That's pretty great. Who of all of your characters would you say is most like you or most an offshoot of you? And
interesting. Yeah, like I'm like nothing like Helen. Like I have like a normal sex life. Like I'm like, a little
your
shocked.
jaw
Like
is very different than Helen's.
But I'm not. I mean, it's funny because
So you're saying you're not disgusting?
Not really, but like people come up to me and tell me like gross sexual things because they think that like
that's you.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just don't. They think that that's just who I am.
Right.
But I would say, I would say maybe my Pamela Pupkin character. She's like such a bitch. So I'm like, I'm just like her.
She's just like me.
No, but she's like very strong and opinionated and wants to kind of control everything. And I think that that's probably like a character defect of mine, but nonetheless something that
that's fun.
I mean, she's like a very heightened version of me, but
that's what makes it fun. If it comes from a place of like realness in yourself and then you get to make fun of yourself in that way, it's great.
Absolutely.
Did you always do impressions or characters growing up?
I didn't really do impressions ever.
Really?
No.
Because did you grow up acting?
Like not as a child. Well, I mean, like I was in like theater in high school.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, so I was like on the speech team.
Oh.
Do you know like anything about
speech?
that? It's like
what do you mean?
Competitive acting.
Yes, I do know about this.
Speech. I know it's a weird
Queer
thing.
Eye just brought one of the like in an episode they brought a kid that was like the reigning speech champion to tell this like local yokel politician guy that they were giving a makeover to how to give better speeches.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it's my thing wasn't really speeches though. It was more basically you had to take a play and dissect 8 minutes from it and then perform it and play all the characters for like judges and other kids around the state, and you'd like compete.
So doing like a one-woman show.
Yeah, but this is also just like school for what you do now.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I could never really understand why like my friends who were on speech, like who didn't want to be an actor, I was like, why are you wasting your time doing this, waking up at 5 a.m. on Saturdays to go compete if you're not doing this for...
Right.
I couldn't understand. But I was very lazy. And so I just only focused on the things I like. Like I was a terrible student. I took geometry 3 times. Like I was a stoner,
You're a creative
bad kid.
But your creative side was functioning.
That's right.
Firing on all cylinders.
That was the thing. That was the only thing that I cared about.
You have a podcast where you prank call as your characters?
Yeah, I'll do. Yeah.
And have any of the prank calls ever gone completely wrong that you couldn't post them, or have any of them actually been like so wrong that they're perfect?
Yeah, like I just post them all. Like I haven't gotten sued yet. So like,
oh, there you go.
Yeah, because I think it's illegal.
I was gonna say, is there a legal thing if you're saying if you could hear the actual voice of the person?
Yes, but I have not been sued yet, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm just living on the wild side,
You know, they say beg for forgiveness, never ask for permission.
Like I don't say the name of the restaurant or hotel or whatever whoever I'm calling, or like I called a flower shop and I had like Helen write the worst like Mother's Day card ever, but had the person write it. Like, just fun stuff.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Who do you follow on social media that's like your favorite, whether it's like a guilty pleasure or just like someone that you genuinely are like, they're great?
Man, who I like this new account called Mouth Breather.
Mouth Breather. I don't know this one. Melissa's like, I'm writing this down.
It's actually not his videos though. Like he finds these like vintage like 1970s workout videos, just really like sexercise or like really funny like old videos, and he'll cut them together in a really strange way that I like. So that's someone I'm weirdly obsessed with. Who else? I like a lot of like meme accounts, and but I don't watch like too many. I don't watch like Facebook and YouTube creators too much. Like
that's probably good because then you don't get too like subconsciously influenced by something that's you've already seen.
Totally.
Yeah, because that's my worry is that I used to watch it all the time. I pulled back a little bit and then I could only think of ideas that were generated based on videos I've already seen. And you're like, dude, now I'm just making this person's video again.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make sense.
Totally.
You said you were out here. You've been out here for how long? 16 years? 12 years?
12 years. I mean, I literally moved out here when I was 17.
Wow.
Yeah.
By yourself?
Yeah. So, well, with these two girls. So, I had done theater with these two girls in Chicago, and they were 2 years older than me. They were at Northwestern, and they came to my high school the week before I graduated, and they were like, hey, you know, we know you want to be an actress.
Right.
We're going out to LA for the summer to intern at this production company. Do you want to come with us and like sleep on the couch and like help us with the rent, essentially? And I was like, okay, yeah. Cause I had, like I said, no direction. Like I was doing, studying at Second City in Chicago, and like, I wanted to just keep going there. Like I was fine to just do that and then eventually make my way out here.
Sure.
But then they came and asked me, and I was just, you know, like, yes, I didn't really think twice.
Well, I like that they started it by being like, do you want to come pursue your dreams and help us with our rent?
Exactly. Like looking back, they absolutely just wanted that extra $500 a month. That was it. They didn't give a shit about my dreams.
Yeah. But so you've been out here for 12 years. That's nuts.
So yes.
And you were auditioning.
So I was there, and then I quickly, after the summer, went back to Chicago, and then I ended up in New York for some guy that I thought I was in love with that I met once.
It happens to the best of them.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. He told me he was a photographer, turned out to be a drug dealer. Long story.
Wow.
Long story.
Wow.
Maybe next time.
Yeah. We'll have to do part 2.
Yeah. Yeah. And then long story long, I ended up back in LA 18 and got a commercial agent.
Wait, you moved to New York when you were 17?
Okay, so like I was like in New York for like 4 months of being 18 and then like went. So like I was here when I was 17, then quickly to Chicago, then to New York, then back to LA, all between 17 and 18.
Wow, what a year.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Totally.
That's so nuts.
But I feel like at that age, at least for me, like I had no fear. Like I was very, you know what I mean?
Yes,
You're
100%.
just like, eh.
I lived in New York for 6 years. I go back now and I'm like, I'm scared of everything. And I'm like, how did I live here in my early 20s?
Isn't
like,
that funny?
How did my parents let me live here in my early 20s? So then you've been out here ever since.
Yes. So I came back here, and then eventually like my sister moved out and we lived together, and the guy went to jail, and you know, yeah. And
do you still visit him?
No,
penthouse,
no, I do not. But like I would occasionally get calls like, you have a collect call from the LA County Jail. Like,
yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. I know how to pick them. But yeah, so then I got a commercial agent, and I like booked the first commercial I went in on, and I was like, this is easy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a Spanish cell phone commercial. Like I was like dancing around with a cell phone. It was so stupid.
That's so funny.
That sounds pretty perfect though. Well, I was going to ask that I love hearing people's like worst audition story. If there's one that comes to mind, I feel like you've probably been on hundreds, so I'm sure the good ones get repressed really deep down.
Oh man, gosh, there's just been so many bad ones.
That's how I feel too.
Like I think probably the worst was when I went in and it was a callback, and so I really, really wanted it. It was a series regular pilot role, and it was like I would put so much importance on these things, and I went in and I read, and then she, you know, it was just the worst, because you would read the sides once, and they would just, sometimes you'd only read one scene even though they told you to prep 3,
right?
So you'd read one and they'd just be like, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
You know, and they just give you that like dead-eyed smile, and they're just like, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
And you just know like that smile means you didn't get the part.
Yeah, exactly.
We offered it to Brooklyn Decker. I don't know why you're here.
Oh God.
You know, like that.
Was that real?
Yeah.
Oh,
but so, you know, it was like, thanks for coming in. And I think at that point it had been like so many years of that like I like wouldn't accept it. I was like, what can I do differently? She was like, thanks for coming in.
Oh, no.
And I was like, what did I do wrong? And she was like, thanks for coming in. Or like whatever. She was just like, thank you. Like, we're done here. And I was like,
she's just like a broken animatronic.
Can I do anything else? Like I like turned a little psychotic. Like I
Yeah, you were frustrated.
I wouldn't accept her no.
It's like someone breaking up with you that you're like, no, we're not breaking up.
Yeah.
What can I do?
What did I do?
Right.
Yeah.
How can I fix this
just
relationship?
Tell me what I did. She's like, thank you for coming in. And it's like, but why not tell me the truth, bitch? Like, just tell me what I did wrong.
That's more.
They're like, they won't just be honest and just say, you know what? You're not right for the part.
Right.
And I don't think you're a great actress. Like, you could just even say that.
Or, just say, I'm with you, that it's more, there's something more comforting about knowing the truth, even if it's a harsh truth.
Totally.
Than walking away wondering forever, what could I have done? Should I have worn a different shirt?
Because you'll never know.
Right. And then you feel like everything's out of your control. They have
Totally.
all the control.
Yes.
And then you go to Facebook. And everything works out.
Yes. So, yeah, exactly. So that's like essentially what happened. It was like kind of out of creative frustration.
Yeah.
And then, and at first, you start making videos, no one watches them, no one cares, but it's just keep going and going. And then, now it's just, I could never imagine going back to that.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
It's so nice working from home with our one-eyed pug.
Oh my gosh. It's the best.
Living the dream. Well, we have a bunch of Twitter questions for you that we're going to get to in just a second. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Laura Clery on Not Too Deep.
Yay.
Helen's here.
Not too deep.
Introducing Jack Ferry. Not introducing Jack Ferry. Saying introducing, Jack Ferry. The Beyond Burger.
Oh, I've heard about this. This is the, I believe I read somewhere that it is the uncompromisingly delicious plant-based burger that is packed with protein and better for you and the planet.
You are absolutely correct. The Beyond Burger is not your hippie college roommate's veggie burger. It is a sizzling sensation created for meat lovers everywhere.
In fact, it's the only plant-based burger that is so meaty, it's sold in the meat case at grocery stores nationwide.
So brave.
The Beyond Burger is made from simple ingredients, applied in fresh ways. They use protein from peas, potato starch, and coconut oil without gluten, soy, or GMOs.
The delicious plant-based Beyond Burger comes with less baggage and more benefits, so you can eat what you love and feel better while doing it.
This summer, add some sizzle to your grill with this revolutionary burger that satisfies the most ravenous of carnivores. And Grace, you've actually had
I am
the
one of
Beyond
those
Burger.
ravenous carnivores.
And?
It was satisfying. I made it for myself. It is weird. It made me feel like David Blaine in my kitchen, like dark magic, that this burger that looked like meat didn't actually contain any meat.
Right.
And it's by far the most on par with the consistency of a real burger that I've ever found from like any sort of burger that absolutely has no meat in it. So I encourage anyone that is curious to try it. You can taste the future of protein made from plants by visiting beyondmeat.com/grace and click the Where to Find button to find a local retailer near you. That is beyondmeat.com/grace. We're back.
We are.
With Laura.
We did it.
And we're going to get to Twitter questions, the platform that you don't use.
Yeah.
But before we
use
do, I'm going
it,
to ask
shouldn't
you
I?
the two questions I ask every guest that's on the podcast.
Oh.
And the first one is, who, alive or dead, would you most want to throw cold spaghetti at?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Who do I want to throw live spaghetti at? Oh, this is so hard.
It can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm like dealing
it's whatever
with here.
whatever your intention is.
Is it a good thing or a bad? I mean, I suppose I wouldn't want to get cold spaghetti thrown at me. So
Can't imagine why not.
Everyone has a different interpretation.
I guess like Hitler.
That's a fair answer.
All
Totally
right.
fair answer.
Cool.
On a lighter note, the other question that I ask every guest on the podcast is to tell us your worst pants shitting story or close call, but you can only use 3 words or 3 small phrases or intermixed. So mine is college, jogging, front lawn.
Man. Mine is kindergarten.
Fair.
Locker. Bryce.
Oh.
Bryce?
Okay.
All right.
Poor Bryce.
Poor Bryce.
Say no more.
Okay, we have some Twitter questions for
Yeah.
you. Here we go. Someone wants to know, how did Helen meet Steven?
Okay. Yes. So, man, in this,
Do they have an origin story?
Yeah. So originally, the pilot of the sitcom that I do on Facebook Watch now, because you know about Facebook Watch. I'm sure
heard.
Facebook is like.
They have a lot of shows that they're like launching through that.
Right.
I actually don't know.
Okay, so Facebook launched Facebook Watch, and basically they're putting in like a couple $1 billion into it over the next year or two, and they're trying to compete with Netflix or Hulu.
Oh, wow.
So they're making like
they're making shows.
Yes,
Okay.
like premium content, but they also have some creators self-producing, or like they'll put them on a minimum guarantee. They'll give you a certain amount an episode.
Oh,
I see.
cool.
So like my show is was self-produced, and then now Facebook's helping me, but it's not a premium, but it's still on Facebook Watch. Okay.
Got it.
So that is like a sitcom, like a 3 to 5 minute, based on like Helen and her family, and like her obsession with Steven is in there, but it's kind of like deeper, and there's dynamics in the family and all of that. And so originally in the pilot, it was that Steven and I were looking for a roommate, and Helen came to be our roommate, and then like, so that's how we met. Was she came,
and then she murdered you,
right? And then she murdered me. Yes, yeah, exactly.
Family friendly comedy.
Got it.
There you go.
In real life, does Steven have a favorite character of yours?
He likes Ivy. I feel like he has a crush on Ivy.
Because Ivy's like this monotone model character.
Yeah. Like she, like I just posted a video today. She did a music video about potatoes and how she loves them because she's just so fucking stupid, and she just is like, I love potatoes. I'm gonna write a song about it, because I love them.
God,
and like,
I envy her blissful ignorance about
totally,
the world.
you know what I mean? And she just makes a whole music video about potatoes and her love for them.
So it's like wish fulfillment.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this is what it's like to have your brain turned off.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And she's actually, her voice is based off of one of my friends I grew up with.
Oh, really?
That like, it's like very monotone, and she would tell these long, boring stories with no beginning, middle, or end.
Has this friend reached out to you at all about this?
She has no idea. Like, not a fucking clue. Not a clue.
That's so funny.
Amazing.
Yeah, like the first video I posted of Ivy, because I would see all these Instagram models, and they would post like, like half naked pictures with like motivational quotes underneath it. But like I could see your pussy. Like I could see it. So stop saying knowledge is power, because I could see your nipples. I could see your nipples. I don't see how one has to do it.
Yeah.
And so like I would see a lot of that. And I was just like, this is so funny to me, these Instagram models, like with their like, never give up on your dreams, And so I like made that video of like this like dumb vacant Instagram model who's like just said never give up on your dreams, like even if you want to, just like don't. And she like stared in the camera for way too long, and like, and that was like my first viral video, and like that but no one knew it was me because I didn't really have a following at that point.
So I'm sure a ton of people thought this was a real person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So like all these people reposting it, and like it's being shared everywhere, and like, but they think they're like, who is this dumb idiot? Like, who is, like.
Have people ever come up to you in real life thinking that you're Ivy?
At this point, no. And actually, I think like maybe one, but quickly it was figured out eventually. And then I like kept doing like more with her. And then I was like, oh, I see like these, Instagram models that then like all of a sudden they like want to be a pop star. And that's funny to me too.
Yeah.
Like is just to play with that. And like Steven is a music producer and a composer. And so like I can have these stupid ideas for songs, and he can really make them like, I've had like a 20-piece orchestra on an Instagram video.
Oh
like
my God.
So like he can like take my ideas and like
elevate
this.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
what a resource.
I know.
It's huge. So I've really been taking advantage of that.
That's
I would imagine you would.
A successful marriage is always taking advantage of one quality of the other person.
Exactly.
And just working together in that way.
Totally. So I would say Ivy is his favorite. He laughs.
You said you think he has a crush
I
on.
do. Yeah.
It's like, also fair.
Very attractive.
Also fair.
So good. You like dumb. Yeah.
Yeah. How does this reflect on me?
Yeah. Exactly. I'm offended and I'm sort of jealous.
I'm offended and jealous of myself and my alter ego that I created.
That's
and then
so
he's
funny.
like disgusted by Helen, which I'm also offended by. I don't know. It's very strange.
It's very clear that he's disgusted by Helen in the videos.
But he,
though.
like, his childhood crush was Ellen DeGeneres. So, like, he likes funny women. Okay.
okay.
It's like,
right.
yeah, he's like, that's isn't that
amazing.
funny? For some reason, it really makes me laugh.
I mean, because this is like, I'm assuming this is like Ellen 80s, which is like still a very gay Ellen.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's got giant shoulder pads doing stand up. I mean, she broke a lot of like boundaries for women in comedy, which is amazing, but like in a very like stereotypical, like 90s, late 80s female stand up aesthetic. Wow.
I know.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
Is he, because he goes to VidCon too, does he consider himself also like in the social media world? Does he work with you on the sitcom and things like that?
Yeah, like he helps me produce and obviously scores them all.
Yeah.
So he's very much involved, you know, like when he's not scoring films,
Right.
he's helping me. So, and he just, you know, because I feel like my head could tell me like, oh, this idea is stupid, don't do it. Or, you know, so he's been really encouraging as, you know, just to help me get through that.
Yeah.
And I can also run my ideas by him.
That's great.
Which is huge.
To have a sounding board that you trust.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
That you trust. Exactly. So that's been really, really
That's awesome.
important. Yeah.
Someone wants to know, would you rather have awesome dreams every night and never be able to recall them, or only ever have nightmares for the rest of your life?
That's like a pretty simple, like, I'll choose the first one.
Yeah, I'll
I
say.
was gonna say,
Or would you rather suffer for the rest of your life every night
or
for 8
just
hours?
never remember a cool thing that happened to you?
Yeah, but you still probably wake up like feeling like, wow, I don't know what I was dreaming about, but it was cool.
You still wake up in a good mood.
Felt cool.
Oh, instead
Yeah.
of
Do you
just
guys
like,
remember your dreams?
Sometimes I do.
Yeah.
And they almost
Sometimes.
always forget them within like 2 minutes.
Yes. Isn't that so strange?
It
You
Yeah.
remember them so clearly and then they're gone.
Yeah.
yeah, my mom writes down her dreams a lot when she remembers them in the morning, just in case they're good dreams and she just wants like a story to tell people.
I've done that. I've written just like a couple words to
Yeah.
jog my memory, and it really does work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my mom used to do this thing growing up that I thought was like very smart, but now just in hindsight, I'm like, why didn't you have a notebook next to your bed? She would, if she had an idea in the middle of the night, because she's a person that her brain doesn't stop, and so she doesn't sleep well.
Same.
She'll throw a tissue on her floor as like a sign to herself in the morning to remember an idea that she had in the middle of the
So
night.
random.
And when I was
love
younger,
it.
I was like, that's really smart. But then I was like, just write them down. Just write them down in the middle of the night.
That's so funny.
Because she would hardly remember what the tissue was
yeah,
there
she'd
for.
just be like, damn it, I'm such a slob. Why is there a tissue next to my bed?
God, my half sleep self was so creative last night, but I had
Yeah.
no idea what about.
When she has a cold, she thinks she's being super creative.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. She writes her
Exactly.
novels when she has a cold. Someone wants to know weirdest hookup experience. It's a little invasive, so don't feel like you have to answer that.
No, there's just so many. What?
I mean, you did the whole dating in Los Angeles thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I would say the weirdest was I hooked up with this guy and like I feel like halfway through, like I realized he was like very, very, very gay. And there was just like, and that was really awkward for me.
Yeah, because what do you do?
So like we were like, you know, making out and then, yeah, it was like, oh yeah, like go down on me or whatever. And he was like, okay. All of a sudden it came out and he was like, I have never done this before, but I'm going to do it because you're great. It's like, I've never done it, but I'm going to do it. Okay, here we go. And I was just like, oh, fuck. And I was just like, it was just horrible because I knew he hated vagina
Oh, yeah.
at that point. So it was like, it
And
was
you
such a
can't-
turn off. And then
and
the
you
whole
can't
thing.
just say that to him.
You can't be like, oh, you're gay. You're so gay. You're so gay.
You're super gay.
It's like, I've never done this before, but I'm going to do it for you, girl.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that was my, yeah,
that's
that was
very
unfortunate.
funny. Oh, that's
It was
very,
very
very funny.
unfortunate.
Someone wants to know, and you kind of covered this already, and you say you don't use Twitter. Like, who's your favorite person to follow on Twitter? But if you're not really on Twitter, then
So like, it's not like,
it's not a thing. Oh, someone wants to know
No.
your favorite reality
Ricky
TV
Gervais, I
show.
guess. I'm watching The Bachelor right Bachelorette.
Yes.
Right now.
I just
And
caught
I'm,
up last night.
Yeah, but do you feel like this?
She does not have a connection with any of them.
Right?
It's going to be bad. It's going to
Isn't
be
it?
bad.
And is it kind of a boring season, or am I just getting more distracted by my phone? And because I can't decide whether I have like no attention span anymore because of the phone, or like, or if it's just kind of a weak season.
I think tell me. I think it's a weak season because I only recently got into The Bachelor and Bachelorette like a couple seasons ago. And then, so I don't have a full like archive to compare to season wise in my head, but I do think that there's something innately more, because my boyfriend now watches with me, which is like something that's a true miracle that this has happened.
Isn't it amazing? I got Steven.
He hates everything reality TV, but he'll watch this.
Yeah.
And he's into it more this season. I think my theory is that because he's a guy, putting himself vicariously in the position of all these guys competing is like you scream at them and you're frustrated with them. Where I think the women last season, even though Ari was like so boring to me, just watching them compete was more fascinating to me as a woman because I could relate to like what they're doing and then also scream at all the mistakes they were doing and like, why are you on the show to begin with?
Yeah.
But it's still fascinating because it's just like people keep putting themselves into these voluntary situations, and this is like the 20 whatever season of it,
isn't it?
It's crazy,
and they pretty much never work out. They pretty much never.
It's like,
and it's always sad. And aren't you always like, wait, they broke up?
Yeah.
Like, why am I still surprised that they're not
this
together?
Sham romance that happened on a television show.
Do you watch Bachelor in Paradise?
Yes, I like it because it's even trashier.
And it's a little bit more self-aware how trashy it is. These are all people that know that they're just going to be Bachelor and Bachelorette alums for like the rest of their careers.
Totally.
And so they're like, we're just going to fully exploit the fact that we're cogs in this system now.
Yes.
And I feel like that I'm like, these people, they know what they're getting into.
But it's like you watch it and you go, okay, these producers are manipulating these people in such a great way. And, you know, because it's like, hey man, that's not your helicopter.
Nope.
That wasn't your idea. That wasn't your idea to take him there.
You didn't set this whole beach
That's
party
not even
up.
your fucking outfit. Like you don't even dress that well. You don't.
Exactly.
The producers dressed you.
Yeah.
And so none of this is real.
Yeah.
And like we can see it. And I'm sure they can see it. Yet when they're in it, they're like, I don't know. He's just the one. Like we've hung out for 41 minutes and I've never felt this way. Like they're just all so manipulated each time.
And you think about it too, because they take their phones away and they don't have any outside resources to what's happening in the world outside of what the producers will like let them in on.
Yeah.
So I think about how long the production schedule must be, like a couple weeks. That if
Several
you're just
weeks.
Yeah, if you're just in this bubble getting like being handed drinks all day every day, that eventually it'll break you and you will be saying things that you don't believe. You will be like believing things that aren't true, and you will be puppeteered.
You get caught up in the competition. I mean, we had Dean Ungler who
in the competition.
We had Dean Ungler on one of our live shows, and he was saying,
what season was he again?
He was in the Bachelorette,
the one before Ari, the Bachelorette before Ari.
With her?
Was she?
Rachel.
I always want to call her Ashley. Rachel.
And then he was in
Bachelor in Paradise.
Bachelor in Paradise, and then Winter Games.
Okay.
So he's been on a bunch.
But hat trick.
But I asked him, I was like, you know, how much of it is real and how much of it is competition? He's like, it's definitely, you just get caught up in the competitiveness of it.
Yeah.
And like that, but you still feel it.
Yeah.
I think was his point.
I feel like,
but I think because the competitiveness like fuels the emotion behind it, but you kind of trick yourself.
I also feel like when they
complex.
get into the Bachelor in Paradise and like Winter Games scenarios where they've all been through it, so they can all relate to each other. That there's a certain level of like sorority, fraternity, company that makes them more comfortable to be lunatics, like in this whole thing.
Yes,
that it's like that's where I'm like, yeah, let all of these like crazy people in the bubble together that are all aware of this but still want to participate in this kind of thing. Let them go nuts and keep the cameras going.
I actually had a conversation with somebody about this because I was complaining about how like it's so ridiculous.
Right.
And then their retort back to me, which kind of shut me up, was like, yeah, but isn't falling in love always kind of crazy? Like so many people's stories of where they met are so insane and weird and bizarre. And it's like, how did that happen? It's like dumb coincidences. Like,
well, with that, where did you meet Steven?
So I met Steven at a party, and I was actually I was dating a guy at the time, but we weren't exclusive. We never had the talk. We'd probably been on a couple of dates.
Sure.
And I was, at that time, I was being very antisocial. And my sister, I was isolating a lot. And my sister calls me and she's like, Laura, she's like, you have to come to this party. You need to get out of your house. And she at that time living here only had British friends. She was obsessed with English people.
So
they call it Anglophiles.
Yes.
Really? So she collected
Girl,
British.
it was so weird to the point where she would call me, and I kid you not, and she'd be like, "Do you want to get some tea?"
Oh no!
And I'm like, "You're from Chicago." Like literally, it was that extreme.
That's so
Because she
funny.
only hung out with English people. And I have my theories about that. I think we had a weird childhood. I loved it, but you know, I think that she didn't really ever fit in, and I think that she wanted to go out and just kind of recreate her self-image, and she just fucking loves the Brits and everything about them. And so she
It is a great accent.
she's since lost her British accent.
Okay.
But,
Unfortunate.
Yeah, but so she calls me and says, Laura, come to this party. No, not like that, but like whatever.
There's no queue to get in.
Yeah. and I really didn't want to go, but I called the guy that I was seeing and I said, Ben, do you want to come to this party? And he said, yeah. And then he calls me probably 10 minutes before he was supposed to pick me up. And he says, I can't go. My work's running late. And I was like, oh, perfect excuse. I don't have to go. And I call my sister. Ben can't make it. She's like, you're an adult. Like, come to the party by yourself. Fine. Okay, fine. So I go to this party of her then boyfriend's house, and I see Steven, and he's like standing out in the garden and like he's laughing. I remember he's laughing with someone, and I remember like really liking his smile. Like I was like, oh wow, that's a really cute smile.
Yeah.
So I was all Helen-y and like went up to him.
Oh gosh.
None of the characters are based on me.
Right. I was like, hi, Steven. I went up to him, and I remember I was also at this time newly sober. I was like 2 months sober. I'm 6 years sober off alcohol and drugs. And so at that time I was like 2 months, which I think is another reason that I was like not going out socially, because I was like nervous that I would want to drink.
Right.
And so I remember he was holding a water, and I was like, oh wow, like that's hot. Like he's holding a water. So like I went up to him and I was like, hey, like where'd you get your water? And that was the first thing that I said to him.
That's your pickup line.
That
Nice.
was the first fucking thing I said to him. I was like, hey, like, where'd you get your water?
Oh my God.
And then I was like, it was like he turned and he sort of, in his mind was like, what did she just ask me where I got my water? Like I could see the thought process of him. Like, that's a weird question. Yeah. You know? And so then there was this bit of silence, and then I just kept talking about water because I was so uncomfortable, and I was like, yeah, like I love water so much, like it's I swear to God. And then I said, it's really important to stay hydrated.
Wow.
And that
So
is
you just tripled down on loving water.
That's it. Where'd you get your water? I love water so much. It's super important to stay hydrated.
Wow.
And then he just looks at me and he goes, obviously you don't love water, or you would have brought some yourself.
It's so British.
Right, isn't it?
Just completely shut down a girl trying to be nice to you.
Totally. And I was like, I got offended. I was like, are you accusing me of not liking water? Like, I do like water. I really do like water. And
How dare you?
Yeah, and he goes, I'm just saying, if you did, you would have brought some. And I was like, all right, well, whatever. I'm gonna go find some water, you know? And it was like that. And that was our first like interaction.
That was your meet cute.
That was it.
That was an emotional roller coaster. Wow.
Yeah. And so then I like went and found some water and, talked to some people there, and, and then probably an hour later, I was like, okay, I've spent enough time here, and I guess I'll say goodbye to the water guy. And so I went back to him and I was like, hey, I'm leaving. I just want to say bye. And he was like, why are you leaving?
Oh.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, because I'm the only sober person here. Because like everyone at this party is getting progressively drunker and higher and whatever.
Right.
And he was like, I'm sober. And I was like, sober? Because there's like two different types of sober. There's like, I'm sober like
for the night,
or like I'm sober because I'm a fucking alcoholic and I can't just have one drink.
Yeah.
So, right. So like, so he was like sober. And I was like, no way. And so then we had this, and he's like very public about it. So like, that's why I feel like, okay, talking about his sobriety. Steven's an alcoholic. But he's like, fine. You know what I mean? Like we talk about it in our social media. Like
it's good to like desensitize that too.
Totally. Because there's such a stigma and I hate that. And like, so I'm just open about it. And then it keeps me accountable because then like now like everyone knows I shouldn't drink.
Yeah,
no, for sure.
If a stranger sees me on the street that follows me, hey, I saw your Insta story. You can't be drinking. But anyway, so yeah, so we just sort of like bonded over that, and then like he asked me to lunch the next day, and we actually went to an AA meeting. So romantic!
Oh my god, this is like a fairy tale.
It's a twisted Hollywood fairy tale. Yeah, it's like Lucy and Ricky, but recovering drug addicts.
Yeah,
it's so cute.
It's
so cute.
Very adorable.
It's so cute. But yeah, so like we met at a meeting and then we had like a 3-hour lunch, and really the rest is history from there. Like it was just
awesome.
Yeah, and that was like 7 years ago.
Wow.
Have you ever discussed the opening water line with him? And, and like admitted that like that was super embarrassing.
Totally.
And what did he say about it?
Yeah, we laugh about it all the time because like people ask us where we met a lot. So like I'm telling that story, you know, like all the time.
Right.
Also, how are you not writing this as its own pilot and or movie?
It's funny because like I already did that.
Really?
I did. Yeah. So I mean, I would like to make it. I'm actually writing a book now, and it's a compilation of essays, short stories from my life, and that's one of them. So like nice. I thought it would be really cool to like make a little mini series around that or something.
That'd be super cute.
Yeah, like so yeah, but I did write that pilot.
Wow.
and I haven't really though even shopped it around or anything. It's just like one of the things I've written that, you know, I think there'll be a time and a place for it.
Sure.
But yeah, it's fun.
It's super fun.
It's a fun story.
It's super
a weird, twisted love story.
I love it. I think it's great. I think it's so refreshing in a way, like water itself. You know?
Fucking water. Yeah.
Laura, we're coming to the end of the podcast. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of all these projects, where can people find what you're working on, what you have coming up, etc.?
Yeah. So, so my podcast is the Laura Clery podcast.
Right.
So there's that. And then, and that's with Steven and, you know, prank calls and funny stuff. And then, you can just find me on Facebook and Instagram. It's just my name, Laura Clery.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, and that's like where all my sketches and funny stuff.
Awesome. And we give every guest that's on the podcast a personalized fortune cookie.
What?
Yeah. So that is for you.
Thank you.
It's very high tech.
I believe it. What is it going to say? Oh.
Not short.
Okay. Consider this a throuple. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Stop. I'm so dumb. I'm actually
no, you did.
Ivy.
You did.
A throuple situation between you, Helen, and Steven. Also, Helen may or may not have written this fortune. You can't prove anything. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for making time. And make sure you guys go check out everything that Laura's working on. There's so much stuff in the works, it sounds like, too, which is very exciting.
Yeah, totally.
So stay up to date. And thank you again for being here.
Thank you, Grace.
Of course.
Yay.
We'll see you guys next time on another episode of Not Too Deep.
Yay.
Goodbye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep. Not too deep.
With Grace Helbig.
This summer, set up your grill game with the revolutionary Beyond Burger. This mouthwatering masterpiece is the only plant-based burger that is so meaty it's sold in the meat case at your local grocery store. It's packed with protein, it's better for you and the planet, and will satisfy even the most ravenous of carnivores. Are you ready to taste the future of protein? Then visit beyondmeat.com/grace to find a local retailer near you. That's beyondmeat.com/grace.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated.
Produced and directed by Jack Ferry.
Producer Melissa D. Mons.
With writing by Diane Kang. Audio support by Chris Henry.
Editing by Melissa D. Mons.
And an extra special thank you to Flula for the theme music.